Today's the one-year tasting of the mead of many names.
Now, when she says many names, this is known as Traditional Mead, or my Beginner Mead, or my First Mead. Depends on what you want to call it. But basically, let's just call it Yum. It's just really good. But
The reason why he said that is because we cheated accidentally and have already taken a sample of this. That's why you can see it's down farther than what it should be.
There's a reason for that. It's called bad USB cables. Yeah, we have the video of it, and I might even show you a snippet up in the corner. But we do not have any audio to go with because for some reason it decided to cut out right in the middle, and it did that on like 4 videos. So there's going to be a little bit of trying to make things up along the way. Not for this one, so it doesn't really matter. So I'll just shut up and stop talking about that now. But it's been fixed, I think. Yep, I see audio. Okay, you're going to see me do that a lot because now we're paranoid. And I haven't started the other audio recorder, so hold on. Okay, so now we have a secondary audio going. Anyway, this is my beginner mead. This is the very basic mead. It was just some raisins, honey, black tea, and orange zest. And it finished at an unknown specific gravity. I just don't know.
But it's 11.3% ABV, so it's just fine. Basically, if you are new to the mead brewing world and you want to get your fingers wet, if it was, this would be what we would suggest you to start off with.
Sorry if either of us seem a little bit off our game or angsty. Finding out that 4 videos in a row were no good kind of does that to a person, you know? So we just had to quick fix it all and try to redo this one. And we're just doing the best we can, okay?
It is a pretty color. It's a beautiful golden color.
Yep, absolutely. There was a little bit of wispy lees in the bottom, and it's been shaken up a little bit, so it's not as clear.
It's not as clear, but it's still pretty clear.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's still quite clear, but it was crystal clear before.
Yeah,
just trust me. You'll probably see it in the fast forwarded video, but yeah, the color on this, it's very honey colored, very very golden color. It's a beautiful color.
Aroma wise,
heavenly.
It's delightful. It's one of those things you just want to smell for hours on end. But that really isn't very exciting video now, is it?
I don't know. Some people might like that. But what do you get in the smell? What?
I am getting honey and spice and everything nice.
I get the raisin.
And a little bit of citrus, but to me it's not really reading as orange on the aroma.
More like lemon.
More like lemon.
Yeah. Yeah, it is more like lemon. The spice notes we've noticed probably are coming from the raisins. We've noticed that in the past. They give almost a little bit of a smoky, spiced flavoring that just seems to work really, really nice. And not everybody likes raisins. I can appreciate that. If you don't like them, you can leave them out. No big deal.
But we like them. And we like what they do to...
They add a little color. They add a little
beverages.
flavor. They add a little sugar, you know. But yeah, we could sit here and smell this one all day. Let's move on to the short sip, which is where you just get it in your mouth, acclimate your palate to the beverage. You ready?
I'm ready.
This is just, it's a really nice mead.
It's a nice mead. Any anger and resentment towards technology
starts to fade away.
It's just going away. It's just chilling.
Well, it's not totally gone yet. I still have some more in here. So. Anyway, so on the initial tasting, what I get is the honey right away. Then all those spices come through. And now I got a little bit of the bitterness at the back. And on the exhale, I'm getting that honey sweetness again. I got a little sense of marshmallow on the scent that doesn't come through in the flavor. But I do get like a cinnamon, allspice, nutmeg blend spiciness to it.
That little bit of bitterness on the end that's typical for most, well, for Brian, in most fermented honey beverages, so meads. I'm not going to smack it.
You almost did.
It's not really coming through that for me. It's coming more as a sensation of eating something that is heavily cloved. So it has more of a spicy, tingly, nummy numbing, not nummy,
Right.
like yum yum yum, sensation on my tongue. So that is interesting, and but it's not really reading as alcohol so much, which I'm attributing that's where it's coming from, but more of a sensation of clove.
Yeah, I don't get a strong ethanol flavor from this at all. Everything's balanced really nicely. It fills your mouth really well. Let's do the long sip so we can just like move on a little bit here.
Yeah, let's do that long sip because we certainly didn't do that already.
You did? Oh. Okay. Since she already went, I'm gonna go first. And the long sip again. I got a little bit of like that candy marshmallow on the front with a honey back note to it. Then in the middle is the spices, the heavily allspice and nutmeg, not as much of the cinnamon. And then as it goes down, I do get that little bit of a bitter flavor, but still sweetness comes back again. It just keeps coming back to that honey character. And that's what you really want. I mean, why make a mead if it's not going to taste like honey, right? I definitely get the honey character in this. Very strong.
So I did the extended remix version of the long sip that time, where I actually left it in my mouth and took a pause to breathe, and so I exhaled through my nose, and I got a different sensation from it than I did before.
Hmm.
And it was reminding me a lot of the sensations I get when I drink a whiskey that I'm enjoying. And it's not so much the alcohol as like some of the flavor notes I remember drinking a whiskey that I enjoyed, kind of the maple syrup, the smoky notes, some of the citrus and the spice, which was in it initially, but they seem to be blended better together. And when I did that exhale, it kind of accentuated
Hmm.
the experience for me because I still had it in my mouth and I was still
Interesting.
drinking it.
One thing that I get is the balance on this. And usually you want all things to be in balance. You want tannins, acids, and sweetness to just play nicely together, okay? Balance doesn't necessarily mean that they're all the same quotient. It just means that they play nicely together. So with this one, it's low on tannins. There is not a lot of tannic quality to this, and I'm okay with that. It does have a rich, thick mouthfeel still.
And because it has that nice little acidic punch to it,
Yep.
it leans more towards the acid side than it does the tannin side.
Absolutely.
And that works perfectly with the flavor profile of the rich honey notes and the spice notes that we're getting from it.
And the sweetness balances out the acidity,
Yep.
giving your mouth something to think about. Like,
Yeah.
if your mouth can think, that doesn't even make sense. But you know what I mean? It adds a layer of complexity to it. So it's not just sweet with sweet with sweet. There's sweetness with a little bit of brightness from acidity that's backed up by sweetness. And then you have those spices in there all playing well together. It's really, really interesting. For a really simple, basic mead, there's a lot going on. And that's the interesting thing about mead and even winemaking is just because you're using one honey or one basic recipe doesn't mean it's going to be a one note mead.
Yes. Yes.
It can actually come out multifaceted, very complex, even from just one honey. Somebody asked me recently, oh, well, what if I use half of this honey and part of this honey and another part of maple syrup and another thing of this? Now, this was for their first mead. And I'm like, just make a basic mead, for your first time. Just make something basic. Get used to doing it. Get used to what the flavors can be and move on to more advanced stuff after that. No problem.
The only reason why I would suggest it's okay to go ahead with that when you're a first-time brewer is if you only have a little bit left of these things.
Oh, that's a different story.
Then sure, blend away to your heart's content.
That's a different
so that
story.
way you can save on the initial investment.
But they were trying to make it more complex. That was the point. They were
Yeah.
trying to make it more complex. I'm like,
It's not necessary.
it doesn't have to be. This was not a fancy honey by any means.
But on the palate, it certainly reads as a fancy mead.
It absolutely does. You serve this to anyone, it's going to be very impressive. I wish our Ren fairs served mead like this. I would probably want to go every day. Our Ren fairs do not have good mead. If your Ren fair has good mead, let us know where it is so that we can go there. Not even joking. We will go. going to have some more. Why? Because it's been one of those days.
So at this point of our
But not much
journey,
more.
we're going to go into how we would drink this. So
With our mouth.
with our mouth, with our face, our entire face is going to drink this beverage. We would drink this in a house. We would drink this with a mouse. Yes, I went there. But basically, would we drink this with food? Yes.
Would you drink it with a louse?
Would we? I'm not particularly fond of louse. Mice I can deal with, but louse is kind of. I'd rather not.
I don't know. I hear louse is beautiful this time of year.
Oh, is that how it's pronounced? The same as the bug?
Yeah, actually it is.
In louse, yes. With a louse, no.
I know. It's just a play on words.
See, he's messing with me.
Yeah.
Don't mess with me.
Gotta have some fun.
Okay, so would we drink this with food? Yes. Would we cook with this? Yes. Would we drink this with alone? Yes.
Yeah,
Would
it gets
we
all three.
take the bottle, go into a closet during a bad day and cry and just cradle it and drink it all? Yes.
I wouldn't do that. I would just take it and go outside and drink it.
I was trying to be funny.
Yeah,
Probably
it was
wasn't.
funny. It was
Wasn't
no, it was
funny.
funny. It was funny. Trust me, it was funny. People are laughing. See that person right there. They're
No,
laughing.
they're pointing and shaking their head in sad dismay. So,
It's okay, we can't see it.
what would we drink this with?
I would drink this with like comfort food types of things. Chicken pot pie,
Some of the things that I
stew,
didn't cover
chili.
in my tasting notes, because this is the second time we've done this, is that lots of the flavors and the way that they were coming together was reminding me of fall. And so that leads me to what Brian is saying in his list of foods that he would pair this with, is that I'm thinking of things that you would typically eat in the fall.
I would
like
even eat this with Mexican food.
stews,
I didn't think of that before.
chilies,
That's new.
pot roasts, pot pies,
Chicken pot pie,
anything,
pizza.
basically.
Yeah.
Anything. A shoe with a nice sauce, because, you know, that
You
makes
could put this
shoe
on the
better.
bumper of a Volkswagen. It would make it taste good. Okay.
I think it would work well with desserts.
Yeah.
I would think it would
It's
work
not
well
quite sweet
as
enough
an
to be a
aperitif.
dessert, but
I
it
think
could
it
work.
would work well with the fruit plate. I think it would work well with pretty much anything.
I would add this to like tomato sauces, chili, anything that you'd use white wine for. You could use this. It'll add a little extra flavor.
Yeah,
and
you just
sweetness.
don't want to use it in replace of a dry white
No.
wine because it's way too sweet for that. And there's some foods that require
the dryness.
the dryness to make their
Of course, none are coming to mind at this exact moment.
so that wouldn't work for that. But pretty much anything else, sure.
Yeah, it's neutral enough, and that's the thing. You know, this is more my wheelhouse than Derica's wheelhouse. It's more. It tastes more like a methylene, even though technically it's mellow. I'm just calling it a mead. The raisins make it sort of a mellow. Some people say that. I disagree. I think it's just a mead. The raisins were an adjunct, not so much a main ingredient.
Well, a mellow is a mead, so it's okay.
Right, a mellow is a fruit mead. To me, this is not a raisin mead.
Right.
You know,
Right.
It's a mead that had some raisins in it. There's a difference.
Okay, so now it's time for numbers.
I know a number I gave last time. I'm actually going to change it.
Uh-oh.
I'm going higher. No, I'm just kidding.
Are you ready?
I'm ready. 1, 2, 3,
Nine.
9.5. She changed her number 2, just so you know. Last time, we'll give a recap. She gave an 8. I gave a 10. Now, why did I go down to 9.5? I will tell you after she tells us why she went up to 9.
I think
You gave it an 8.
Okay. Doesn't really matter
Yeah.
because just like the scores on Whose Line Is It Anyway, it's all just made up.
Yeah, the scores don't matter and nobody wins. We all win.
We all win because we're drinking
Especially us, because we
mead.
get to drink mead and tell you about it.
I gave it the arbitrary 9 because it's really good, but it's not perfection because it's not my wheelhouse. If it was more fruity, maybe I like it more. If it was more flowery, maybe I like it more. But it's neither of those things, so I'm just going to enjoy it, and that's a high score for me, so I'm cool with that.
I gave it a 10 earlier because at the time I was in a really, really, really good mood and everything just seemed all butterflies and unicorns. Now,
Now we're
now,
cranky.
now I'm a little cranky. And I just thought, the goalpost moved a little bit. What don't I like about it? Not a whole lot. I mean, I actually really enjoy this. I just wonder, is there a way to make it better? Possibly. But I don't know what it is at the moment. So that's why I went 9.5.
Or do we?
Yeah, we do actually have an idea. This is our hulls versus nothing mead test. And if you're wondering why it's so handily right available, it's because in the middle of the video last time, we thought of this and went and got it, and she just said it on the side. But this is the hulls versus nothing. So this is an aged mead of about a year. This beginner's mead is a little bit older, but this one, the hulls versus nothing, was French oaked. So this one had some barrel char wood product of French oak in it. And we talk about the French oak a lot because that was our favorite. So I seem to use it over and over and over again. So what we're going to do is we're just going to do a side-by-side of these two and see, what the difference is, which we like better. Is there a difference? Can we notice a difference? Can we get some more alcohol into our systems? No, I didn't spill. There was a little bit on the bottom of the bottle before anybody thinks I spilled it. Anyway, the French oak is 12%. The traditional is 11.3. So they're very comparable. They're very, very similar. The only difference in the recipes is the My First Mead has raisins. The other one does not have raisins, and it's been French oaked. They're even within like a few weeks of the same age. Yeah. Wow, that's interesting. Yeah, 829 and 920. They're literally 3 weeks apart in age. So this is a really interesting side by side. First, color though. Before we get to that, color. The French oaked one is lighter in color. I'm attributing that to no raisins. It changes the color. And I can smell it from here. It smells really good.
It's glorious.
Now, in the last one, we had differing opinions on the aroma. And we kept referring to the last one because we're using it as kind of a mental benchmark on what we said, because it was actually a really, really good video.
It was an awesome video, and I'm so sad that you don't get to see that because we know doing it over again,
we're still... Actually, I'm discovering things that I didn't say last time, too. So.
Now, this time I can smell this one, where last time I couldn't smell this one after...
Yeah, she said that it had lowered the aroma, and I disagreed. I actually thought that the aromas were the same strength, just different.
This one is candy and vanilla. This one is a bouquet of flowers.
See, I'm not getting the flower thing.
Last time I
you
got
say
flowers.
This one. This is the beginner mead. She's saying it's flowers. I don't get flowers. You get flowers. I get caramel and a little bit of marshmallow and honey smell. On the French oaked one, I get vanilla with a little bit of caramel, and it's more cotton candy almost. Yeah, very different. They're actually quite different. They're similar enough that it's the same base of a mead, but very different. What?
They're all laughing right now.
Why?
Because I took a sip of that already.
Whatever. I'm checking to see that we still have audio. There's still lines coming up.
Oh.
They're so totally different in the taste, though. The beginner mead has some punch and aggression to it. It's not harsh, but it's harsher than that one. It's very smooth, very, very clean and neat, mouth-filling and everything like that. But compared to the French oak one, it's kind of the difference between bourbon and scotch. That's the easiest way I can describe it. Bourbon is usually not gentle and mellow. It's usually got some punch to it. It's sweet. It's a little rough around the edges, but it's crafted so nicely. Scotch, on the other hand, a lot of the time, except for like your Lagavulins and things like that, Scotch, on the other hand, can usually be rounder and smoother. They're aged differently. They're aged longer. The aging process works differently. One is aged in heat. The other one is aged in cold. It changes things. And I think that kind of is the difference here. It's similar products treated differently, and they came out quite differently. I like them both. I can't say I like either one more.
My brain is doing really weird things now, so
Oh boy.
I just
Be afraid.
probably need to stop drinking, but I don't want to because they taste so good.
What? What is your brain doing?
I think it was this one that I had last.
I'm starting to like the French oak better. I didn't think I would. And, you know, I'll be honest, that may be part of why I gave this one a 9.5 this time instead of a 10.
I think, and I don't know why this happened, but I was just sitting here enjoying myself. Yeah, that.
Can you tell we've been married for a long time?
But
Oh, boy.
I was just reminiscing on the flavor profile, and pop, this memory popped into my head that is like 7 months old now, and that was sausage. I thought of sausage. And I'm like, why are you thinking of sausage right now? That doesn't make any sense. And I know you're laughing at me, and it's okay.
I'm not laughing.
I'm laughing with you. I'm trying to think what, because it was Italian sausage.
The mix is okay.
Which, if you think about it, is even funnier.
I think the French oak is better alone. Smells nice. But on the taste, I think the French oak was better alone.
Mm-hmm.
The French oak to me is like a 10. It's that good. It's just so smooth, so mellow, so warming, mouthfeel. The whole thing, everything about it is just really, really wonderful.
Yep, I liked it better alone. You want to finish it or you want me to
I'll
finish
finish it.
So, traditional mead is awesome. If it got oaked, it'd probably be even more awesome.
Let's see how it does chilled. So, as we like to do, we are going to chill this mead because we don't want to refrigerate the whole bottle, though we could have. It's just we wouldn't be able to film the rest of it till tomorrow. And, you know, it's been a long enough day already. I really didn't want to prolong it. So, we're going to use our steel whiskey cube things. I don't really know the name for them anymore.
So we always just say whiskey stones, but these aren't stones.
These aren't stones.
These are steel.
They're steel.
Now, we did a taste test comparison with our whiskey stones versus steel, and we decided we enjoyed the experience on steel.
Non più tra I farfalloni amoroso, notte e giorno di torno girano, delle belle turbando al riposo, Narcisetto a toncino d'amor.
Better. So
It was colder.
that is what we're going to be using here on out until we change our mind again.
Plus,
'cause
they're pretty.
that's
It's really pretty.
how we roll.
The steel actually, well, I mean, you know, go watch the video.
Yeah.
And are you watching it now?
Yeah, we'll wait. So cool.
All right, so now I can tell you. The steel made it a little bit colder, okay? The stone, some people were saying that the stone should hold the cold longer than the steel just because of the way the thermodynamics works. But I found that for drinking time, the steel was far superior. It got it colder and stayed colder longer.
Yeah, we
the
actually
stones
tested
actually started
that
getting warmer.
with a thermometer and the whole 9 yards. And sorry, steel won.
Yeah, steel was better all around. Now, it's a little bit of an unfair test because our steel is like twice the size of the stones. But,
Yeah.
you know, whatever. Science adjacent.
Now, there was a comment in regards to our love of whiskey and how sometimes it's suggested that you add just a few drops of water to whiskey to bring out those water-soluble flavors. And so someone asked, well, because you've switched now away from the ice, which would introduce a little bit of water into the beverage, are you missing out on those water-soluble flavors? Possibly.
But I don't think so. We found the reason we did anything with it at all while we switched from the ice ball was we found that even in the few minutes of tasting and talking about it, it was diluting it so much that it just became watery.
Yeah.
It just watered it down so fast because mead and wine, they're so much lower alcohol, almost like a third to a half at best, the amount of alcohol. So it waters down
In regards
much more
to
quickly.
comparing it
Yeah,
with
compared to
whiskey.
whiskey. It waters down so fast that that's going to just muddy the waters. It just really wasn't helpful. Okay, see, I'm having a different experience this time than last time. Last time when we did this on ice, we were both like, oh, it just toned it all down and took it away. This time, it's still tasting quite nice to me.
Yeah, I feel like
it's not as sweet.
It's reminding me of a Derrica cocktail now.
Oh, I don't know that I'd go there.
Like where I put far too much alcohol in with like
she does that.
a few drops of Sprite or something.
Mm-hmm. She's not even kidding. I'm finding it much more enjoyable this time than last time on ice. Last time, just so you're aware, I dropped down to a 7 on ice, and you gave it a 6 on ice. So it went very low. This time, I mean, do we even need to make it an official? I'll just say I'm like an 8 to 8.5 on ice. It's that good. It's not.
Yeah,
it's not quite.
It's a different creature now for sure.
Yeah.
But
it's not quite as good as it was though.
Yeah, it's like more punchy, a little more discordant, but still enjoyable.
Yeah, when she says discordant, this isn't as sweet as we remember it. Well, as I remember it being when we first made it. I thought it was sweeter. It even, warm. It was definitely not as sweet tasting, but it tasted very nicely balanced. So we were both concerned that it was going to be overly sweet, but it really wasn't. Nope. On ice, it takes that sweetness down even more, which makes the acidic aspect come more forward. We both said this. And I'm not sure that that's a good thing in this particular instance. Sometimes sweetness comes forward when it gets chilled. Sometimes it goes backward. This time the acidity really jumped forward. Now it could be that the acidity jumped forward, not that the sweetness went down. It could, either way.
Who knows?
But it's not quite as nice. And, that's just a thing. Some meads do really well chilled. Some do really well room temperature. We're finding most of the time they're better at room temperature, though.
Yeah, I think I'm 7, 6.
So you're in the same kind of range. You went up a little bit from before. Yeah, I definitely went up a little bit. This is more enjoyable than it was before. Could just be because, we've had a little bit more mead now. Don't get me wrong, we're by far not even close to being drunk. We haven't had that much. That much of a bottle. That's about
Between
it.
two people.
Between two people, yeah. That's about all we have for this one. But if you look over here, those awesome people over there, that is our bejesus and plaid members of the VIP club. Just the upper tiers of our VIP. And, they're awesome. And our entire VIP club is basically what helps support this channel and keeps it going, bringing you the quality content like what you saw today. And if you'd like to become a VIP, just look below. There's links in the description of this video. But if you like this video, look up. There's another video up there. You might like that one too.
Thanks for watching.